Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you know that this is my mini-series in which I'm diving into a beautiful, expansive, deep deck called The Tarot of the Holy Light by Christine Payne-Towler. And this is a deck that is very different from the decks that I was reared on. The Golden Dawn based decks, the RWS, the Smith-Waite, or the Thoth deck, the Harris Crowley, and all of the iterations and beautiful recreations, redrawings, reconceivings of those two prototypes of the Golden Dawn. There are others as well. So, this deck is based on the Continental Tarot, which is a parallel perhaps, but more traditional. I would say esoterically deeper and intriguing, enticing, mind and heart and spirit stretching system of tarot. And so what do? I pull one card every day, a daily draw, from the Tarot of the Holy Light. And I look at it and I recognize the ideas, the symbols, the memories I have of the similar cards in the Golden Dawn based decks. And I do that deliberately so that I can try to detangle, that I can try to separate those from the card that is facing me at that moment. And then I use an RWS-based deck, the Light Seers Tarot, to help me unpack the card that I drew for the day. I do a 3-card spread. First card is the significance of the daily draw card for me that day. The second one is the obstacle. The third is advice. Significance, obstacle, advice. Typically 3-card spread. And then I live my day. And at the end of the day, I look at my trusted guide book by Christine Payne-Towler, and I look at the meaning as intended by her and see how that manifested for me or did not manifest for me during the day. And that's what I'm doing now. Then I do the video. And the card that I drew today, I've seen before. That's not surprising. This is my 48th day of doing daily draws with this deck, so it's bound to start having repeats, right? This was the card that came for me reversed. I think the deck doesn't like me anymore. I think the deck has decided it's fed up with me and is just going to give me reversed cards from now on. No, that's not true. I will admit, when this card came up reversed after yesterday's reversed card and the day before's reversed card, that thought did occur to me that this deck doesn't like me anymore. But that's not the meaning of reversed cards. It's not the sticking your tongue, the deck's not sticking its tongue out at us when we get a reversed card. This is something, Colette Baron-Reid, when she describes the cards in her decks in their reversed position, she describes them as medicine, as a hug from spirit, as a light shining on assistance, special assistance for us for that time. And I appreciate that way of seeing a reversed card. It's not the deck sticking its tongue out at you. It's not saying, oh, you're in big trouble now. It's, look, this is something that you could pay attention to and perhaps circumvent or perhaps find a way around, right? So the card in reverse, this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I love the Queen of Wands. I love how she looks like the Statue of Liberty to me. I love this, it almost looks like a basket of fire. I love the eagle. I told you yesterday how my eagles remind me of Scorpio. Now, I know this isn't a Scorpio sign in this card of fire, but eagles for me are my Scorpio ascendant card. My Scorpio ascendants. Also, I love I love these little shoes, the red shoes that she's got on her. I love the astrological significance of the sun with those stars behind her head. I love this little bundle of perhaps kindling, black kindling in her arm, which reminds me a lot of the broom in Lenormand. Now, the broom or the whip in Lenormand, repeated tasks, which is appropriate in a sense for the Queen of Wands, because she can sometimes be a bit of a taskmaster, and we'll get into that in a moment. Oh, and her wings, love her wings too. Can you see her wings? Aren't those the best wings? Love the whole card in its entirety. I love that the armrests on her chair remind me of the sunflowers in other decks. I love this card. Now, when it came up reversed, I'll have to admit that I did not love seeing her reversed, because I do remember that she can be a taskmaster. I do remember that she does lead people into doing the absolute best they can do by getting them to match her work ethic, her work ability. So she will work her butt off, and she expects everybody else around her to work just as hard, right? She gets results, and she expects everybody around her to get just as good results. So reverse, what does that mean? The first thing that came to mind was maybe fatigue. Yeah, she could probably not only tire other people out, she could probably tire herself out pretty good if she isn't careful. And I woke up this morning feeling really fatigued. I felt really fatigued last night, actually, because of the bicycling thing, and I think I've discussed this a little bit already, but I woke up this morning feeling fatigued, and seeing her in reverse, that was the first thing that came to mind, was fatigue, being tired. I just can't do it anymore. And so I did my 3-card pull from the Light Seers Tarot to give me a little bit of assistance. And so let me show you those cards right now. Beautiful reading, beautiful reading. And you'll notice that I got one of my typical advice cards at the end. So what did we get? We had the Hermit. Love the Hermit card. In the obstacle position, we had the 10 of Cups. Interesting, right? And then the Knight of Cups for advice. And I love getting the Knight of Cups for advice. I don't think I actually am doing a good job of taking the advice very well, but if I'm going to get advice, that's one of the things I'd like to, that's the kind of advice I like to get. So, the Hermit. This kind of made sense in relation to that my feeling that I'm exhausted, I just can't do anymore. Then this is not about doing, but being, right? Taking a pause, taking time out, reflecting, exploring internally and externally, but not going out to explore. Exploration of the external from our place of where we are, just by shining the light of attention and awareness out there. And we see in this beautiful card the figure seated up on a cliff or a high precipice with their glowing, shimmering, almost glitter-like lanterns shining in the darkness. We see the path leading up to the Hermit. So the Hermit has not cut off ties with society, just removed, so that not too many people can come disturb their space and time for contemplation and examination, self-examination, and also examination of experience, of the past, of the future, of what is, what has been, and what will be. I love this card. It's a beautiful image of this card. And I love the person sitting there, radiating light. And so that made sense, considering, okay, so you're wiped out, then do that. I mean, that could have almost been an advice card. But so then I thought maybe, okay, so the wands, the Queen of Wands is the glowing, fiery one, right? She's got this pot right there, reminiscent of the hermit's lamp. So reverse, so instead of doing the work out there, stay still and do the work from where you are. With all that fire you've got enough fire to light up a universe, probably. To see and to do the work of introspection, do the work of extrospection, if that's a word. Advice, or not the advice, the obstacle, 10 of Cups. We don't often think of this card as an obstacle, but it can be. It could just be the reverse. It could be disharmony, disunion, unjoy, joy with an un attached to the front of it. But it could also not be the opposite meaning, but it could be that this could be even more of a drain, which is how I saw this card for me today. Don't try to do the 10 of Cups. Doing the 10 of Cups upright is going to be an obstacle. It's going to break you down. Trying to be the emotional giver for a group of people, a large group of people, your family, your intentional family, your whatever that is. Trying to do this at this time could be an obstacle. Instead, do this. Yeah, being a little bit romantic from time to time is energizing for me. Not being the knight in shining armor for anyone, but the gesture, the feeling behind the romantic gesture. That kind of stuff can also, that kind of action, that kind of, not mindset, but heart set can be energizing for me. And I didn't have roses to send, but, well, I'll tell you about that in just a moment. So those are the thoughts that I had. Yeah, don't try and gush rainbows and sunshine and love over everybody in your environment. Be selective and do some simple love tasks, the love connections. A few, maybe one. That makes sense, right? So I lived my day. And at the end of the day, I pulled out my book and I read the Queen of Wands and was not surprised. So let me read you just a little bit of the upright and then we'll go right to the reverse. Yeah, just for the upright. The Queen of Wands is the kind of person who forces her workers to keep pace with her prodigious energy. I already mentioned that. Again, this card has come up for me before, right? You've probably seen this. She can also play and party just as hard as she works, right? And so I was thinking the reverse of that is can't do that. Yes, even her employees and family members, she views her employees and even her family members as necessary tools for the achievement of a larger goal. So again, she wants other people to keep pace with her, and she sometimes sees those people as tools to achieving her ends, which can be a little bit cold, right? She's willing to make hard choices, including deciding who lives and who dies. Yeah, that's basically what I want to say about her upright. Yeah, she works hard and she expects others to work hard as she does. She can be a little bit cold. She can think of the people working hard for her and with her as tools to meet her goals. Now, when we go into reverse, she gets colder. A moment's thought will make it clear that the reversed suggestions are in this queen's case. I'm so sorry. Here we go again. A moment's thought will make it clear what the reversed suggestions are in this queen's case. Her Ah, okay, good. So her paramilitary attachment to her game plan and strategy can crush the life out of any spontaneity that sneaks into her viewfinder. Yeah. So spontaneity, if it even comes within view of her, is going to be the kibosh. She can be a bit ruthless, sometimes breathtakingly so. Even her friends and loved ones can be stunned by how quickly her mood can shift from generous and open-minded to controlling, blaming, and shaming. If she feels she is losing her grip on the direction events are moving, somebody is going to be punished. This will happen right in public, so the whole realm understands the consequences of disappointing the queen. Pretty harsh, right? Do anything you can to avoid needing her sympathy. In the Queen's universe, individuals who cannot carry their weight and contribute to the whole simply aren't fed. It's nothing personal. You must understand she simply can't see a practical reason to support the weakness of off types. Better to stay out of her line of sight if you can't make an excellent presentation the instant you are called to account. So she gets harsher, she gets colder, she gets moody, which was something that I faced, I think, today. And I'm sorry, I've been having these I'm sitting here on the ground in a pseudo, not even a lotus position, just crossed legs. And one of my muscles is cramping on me today. And so I just decided to start doing its little thing. So let's continue. Anyways, we can do it. So what happened for me today? Well, starting off with, I made a list. Maybe Queen's of Wands yet, but I made a list. First thing was I recorded a tarot reading for someone that I'm a little bit interested in. And so that was my first act was a romantic act by doing that. I'd taken a photo of I did a Celtic cross. I took a photo of that Celtic cross yesterday, sent it off, and I was just going to record my voice describing what I was seeing in the cards, and then I decided to do a full-on video turned down so I could point to things and look here, look here, look here, look here, and make things clearer. And so I did that, sent it off, and it was appreciated. And so that was nice, and it made me feel good, made the man feel good. At least that's what he said. And so that was good. That was my beginning of my Knights of Cupsiness for today, and that helped. Also, I got some decks today in the mail, and I decided today that these are the decks that I'm going to use. I made the snap decision. The two decks that I received today would be the two decks I would use for the next lunar cycle. And just in case you're curious, they are the Textured Tarot and an accompanying Oracle deck called the Original Life Design Cards by Lisa McLaughlin Art. And these are going to be wonderful. They're going. I think that they're going to work. They're going to look and read nicely beside the Tarot of the Holy Light for the next month. And as the companion, as the other side, I decided to use the Starseeker, which I've also gotten recently and have not had a chance to work with. And I think this and this together will be a nice yin-yang around the center of the Tarot of the Holy Light for next month. So those are things that were happening for me today. I was making those decisions. I was making my plans. I decided, okay, since things seem to be going well, I decided I'd go and get my book. I wanted to get a second textbook to put in the other campus that I'm going to be working in for the first time this semester. We have three campuses, but I'm going to be working in another campus, which I'd never worked at before. And instead of carting all the stuff on my backpack on my bicycle, I'm going to take an extra textbook, an extra USB, file folders, and they generously gave me a cubby hole to use, so I'll put all of that stuff there. So I needed an extra textbook. Went to the bookstore, totally expected to have to pay for the extra textbook, went in and they gave it to me for free. That made me feel really, really good. That was nice. And then I went to my office and I was feeling so good and I thought, you know, I'm going to be using these decks for the next cycle, which begins this Saturday here in Korea. And so I thought, you know, to start bonding with these two decks, I'll do a walkthrough. I decided to do a walkthrough. And so I got myself all set up to do my walkthrough. And then what happened? Well, you see this? This is called an S Pen. This goes with the tablet that I'm using to record this video on. And this becomes a remote. So what do? I set up my tablet on a tripod and I sit back and I use this S Pen as a remote. And today it did not work. Did not work. I tried to take thumbnail shots and it did not work. I tried to use it for a video. It did not work. I tried finding a tutorial to check its function and I could not find that. And then I remembered I had another remote. So I went and looked for that other remote and I couldn't get it to pair up. And so what was I doing? I was setting the 10-second timer, turning the camera on and rushing back, trying to pose myself to get a thumbnail. And that ended up taking over half an hour to 45 minutes, just trying to take a thumbnail for a YouTube video. Isn't that wonderful? You could just imagine how happy I was about all of that. Could not figure out what was wrong with this pen. I thought, okay, no, I'm going to have to go get another one of these pens. And these little pens cost like $50 to $60 US. It's crazy. But I thought, so maybe I dropped it. Maybe when I dropped my phone, maybe it went catawonkus. I don't know. Then I got the video recorded and there were just little things here and there were just starting to get me, maybe Queen of Wands reversed E. So what happened next? Oh yes, then after I got it all figured out, I got the video recorded. I don't think I did the best job I could have possibly done. I confused YouTube and Facebook at one point at the closing of the video. It was pretty wild. I might have been a little bit harsh when describing when looking at a couple of cards that I didn't particularly. A couple of the cards in this deck seemed a little harsh for their position in their suit. Like the 8 of Swords, for example, seemed harsher than the 10 of Swords to me. The 7 of Cups seemed really to be more about fantasy, and I don't read the 7 of Cups as a fantasy card, as a negative card, unless it's in reverse. And so I might have been a little bit harsh about the deck, a little bit, maybe. So I finished I got the recording, edited it, and I even got it uploaded. It's on my channel. And then I decided, you know, I've got time. I'm going to go get my bicycle checked one more time because the 2 gears were the chain on the last 2 gears, the lowest gears, the ones with the least strength to them. The chain would go, if I go down to the lowest one, pops up to the next one, then back down, and then up, and then down, and then up and down. I knew that can't be good for the bicycle. I knew it's not good for me trying to pedal and the gear changing in the middle of my trying to get up a hill. So I took it to the bicycle repair shop, and the guy said he couldn't do it. Not because the store was closing, but because he didn't know how to do it. And he actually told me that the previous repair he had done for me was actually done by another shop, and he sent me to the other shop. And I said, and I was a little bit irritated, and so I said, where's the shop? And he started telling me, and I knew that just hearing it I would get lost. So I said, please show me on a map. And he said, where's your phone? And I said, my phone is buried in my backpack. Could you please show me on your computer or on another device? Where's your phone? My phone, I can't get to my phone. I would have to unpack my whole bag to get to my phone. Could you please show me on another device? And he was very, very upset by having to try and figure out how to use one of apparently he's not really good at using the devices in his shop either. He asked his wife to help him. And so then I took over. I took the device. I opened the map. I said, please show me where it is on the map. And I went, it wasn't that far away. It was like, for an English speaker, we would just say it was about like 4 blocks away. No deal, no big deal. So I took it there, and the guy fixed it very, very quickly, very easily. And I asked the guy, you know, in the future, should I just come here first instead of going to that other shop? And he seemed to say, yes, I should. And okay, so that's probably what I'm going to do from now on. I didn't realize that there was another shop that could actually handle repairing my bicycle. And so I rode home, and the rest of the day is fine. And I think I recovered some of my strength in the middle of the day. I became less fatigued as the day went on. I got a little bit excited, I guess, recording a video for the walkthrough. That maybe have helped. Also, the ride to and from my regular campus is shorter, and I don't get lost when I go to my office anymore. So the ride was much less strenuous for me. That might also have a lot to do with it. I don't know, but so I feel better now, except for, like I said, this little crampy thing in my leg. So yeah, Queen of Wands reversed. Queen of Wands reversed. You know, I guess I was a little bit snippy to the guy at the shop who would not open up a computer and show me on the map. I probably was a little bit critical. Perhaps, I don't think I was hypercritical of the deck as I was walking through it, because I love almost all of the deck. There were just 1 or 2 cards that just made me think, I wouldn't have done it this way. I wish it hadn't been this way. But of an entire deck having like 2, maybe 3 cards that were like that, that's a pretty good average. The rest of the cards I love. I usually hate, and that's a capital H, hate collage decks. Now, granted, this deck is also a collage deck, but it's not the kind of collage I'm thinking of. The kind of collage I'm thinking of is, and I'm very sorry to all of you who love these decks, but like the Moonchild, the Star Child, that kind of collage just is worse than does not do anything for me. I really, I don't want to look at it. I just don't want to look at it. And this is a collage deck. This is definitely a collage deck. But there's something about the way this collage is done that generally, almost always, almost all of the cards, there's something, I don't know, that's beyond, it's deeper than computer collage in this deck. Like, for example, this Fool card. It's called the textured tarot because of the fabric textures that are used in portions of the cards. And look at the clothes on that Fool there. There's so much detail. There's so much artistry in that. It's not just this body that was selected and a head that seemed to match, and sticking those together and then putting them on some background that looks mystical and special. And you're going to say that yes, and the Moonchild and the Star Child, there's all of that there, and for me, it's not there. Here, I see it. Here I see, and it's not even like I'm seeing how the artist did the work either. It's different, and this kind of collage in this particular deck is attractive to me and makes me want to work with it. Other collage is not attractive to me and is irritating to me in some ways. This is not by any means that kind of a irritating collage deck. This collage is wonderfully done, and it doesn't look like collage. It looks like somebody drew it. It looks like it was all intentionally drawn because it is so well done. And it's also not photographic, which I also don't like. I don't like photographic decks for the generally. There's one deck that is the exception, the Somnia Tarot, which is entirely photographic. And I love that deck. So there's always an exception. But yeah, I don't like collage. But this collage, I do like. I do like this one. And so I'm excited to be using this. Let me know. What do you think? Go, if you have the time, go look at my walkthrough and let me know. Was I being bitchy Queen of Wands reversed? Or was I just expressing my opinion and generally very positive? I wasn't even trying to be positive. I'm excited about working with this deck. But I do get a little bit... I started feeling bad afterwards that maybe I might have been a little bit too harsh. And I kind of think that shows at the end of the video. Well, anyways, speaking of ends of videos, it's way time to start to bring this video to an end. So let me do that. And friends, if you are still here, hit the thumbs up button so Facebook knows, not Facebook, YouTube knows that you found, see, I did it again, second time today. YouTube knows that you found something interesting in this video and other people might do the same. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed and hit the alarm bell, because after Friday, I'm not going to be doing daily videos. I'm going to be doing 2 a week, probably, sometimes maybe a third one. And comment below. I would really love to hear from you. What do you think? Do you see the Queen of Wands reversed in my description of the day? I think I do. I think I do in my fatigue. I think I do in some of my critical, my moments of being the critic, of being critical. I think that exposed itself during the day. Yeah. And if you want a private reading from me, my email address is below. Shoot me an email, say you want a private reading, we can work it out. And friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.